Hi everybody. Today we're going to talk about the 8th house. And this is my second attempt to film because when I was filming the first video, my mind went into a blank. So I think most people are aware that the 8th house represents trauma, darkness, transformation, the taboo topics, occulticism, psychology, inheritance, gains and losses. But what I think the 8th house inherits the most, apart from just the money, is also the trauma and the gifts of the parents. Depending on what sign is in the 8th house, like is it an air sign, a water sign, a fire sign, an earth sign, I think it can definitely play out differently. But more so than the signs, I'm interested in talking about the planets. So with the sun in the 8th house, this person will experience a lot of pain related to the father. And the father may be a very low-key, private, secretive person, such that the individual doesn't know him well and doesn't know themselves well enough. And it indicates sudden changes in his or her life. Could be financial, but it could be health as well. And sometimes these things, they overlap, right? Like if you have a health issue, then of course you need to have the money to go to the doctor and the hospital. So 8th house deals with debts as well, gains or losses. So it feels a bit like a gambling house, but if you have like Neptune or Uranus in the 8th, then I probably suggest to you not to gamble, not to take big risks, because Uranus is unsteady, unpredictable, electricity kind of energy, and Neptune is just a fog of confusion. Yeah, but more so than anything, with Sun, Moon, Mercury, and Neptune in the 8th, you might experience frequent nightmares or night terrors and unexplainable events, unexplainable things. You might feel that you are an oddball in this world and more of a loner. I think Moon in 8th is a very challenging placement, as it makes the individual paranoid, and because Moon is like your comfort in your safe space, and then you have this 8th, intruding into your safe space and your comfort. So it makes a person very un at ease and may fall into depression, Well, Moon is the mind, some people say, but Mercury is more of the communication aspect. And Mercury doesn't necessarily make an individual negative. I mean, what they can say can come across as overly direct or negative when they do speak. But Mercury is more like a researcher. They go about a logical way. They research to dig deep, and they can easily read people, and they are very selective with who they hang out with, and they may be more of an introvert. As with 8th house planets, you may be more towards introversion, unless you have like 9th house planets that make you a little more open. Now, Mars in the 8th, wait, I haven't covered Venus. Okay, Venus in the 8th is beautifies everything, right? So you think of someone who's very into the goth aesthetic, or like the Corpse Bride, Wednesday Addams kind of aesthetic. They find these things beautiful. If you're thinking about just the looks of things, but they also find beauty in the struggle. And 8th house is a sex house. So when a Venus in the 8th finds someone, they actually bond very close and almost on a psychic level that they bond. But it makes it even more painful when the partner pulls away or they separate, because the 8th house makes your bond almost to me it's more like a fluid, stretchy, sticky bond, you know, and if you pull that away like a plaster, it's gonna hurt. That's why these people experience a lot of pain in love. Yeah, so back to Mars in the 8th. These people can be very ruthless and very relentless, especially if they have Moon or Lilith conjunct, which I've seen before. And yeah, those people are very cutthroat, cold. Not to say all placements like that are like that, but I've seen it manifest that way in people, where when they don't understand themselves, they don't have self-awareness, and when they take it out on other people. Yeah. So where was I? Yeah, so Mars. For outer planet, Jupiter will be similar to Venus, because Jupiter brings luck and expansion, but it can expand the bad parts too. So it's more of a neutral force in this case. Saturn can make one date older people or go into dating very late, and they have learned a lot of lessons and hardships through intimate relationships. But yeah, the 8th house is basically like staring into a black hole of never endingness, and you're just like staring at it and you don't know where it's gonna end, and it's the most scary but overpowering and immersive experience, you know. So that's the way I would describe the 8th house. Another thing with the 8th house is it's a water house, right? So it's not always logical. So if an 8th houser feels something is off, it's by their own feeling and gut sense, and not about what is logical. Yeah, and in a simpler example, I do have like essential oils that I use occasionally, not very often these days, and I do know that they help with the person's energy, and I know which essential oil helps with what. Just by smelling it, you can sort of feel it. And so that's just one tiny example. 8th house brings trauma, yes. So unless you have 2nd house planets, which would balance out the 8th, you might struggle to get over your trauma. That's not to say that you need a 2nd house to get over it, but that's just one example. And yeah, this is my analysis kind of the 8th house. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next one.